The Layla Show. Welcome to another week of The Layla Show, where we build a conscious community one conversation at a time. With your host, me, Layla Ziari, coming at you with weekly episodes every Friday featuring guests from all over the world and so many different industries, sharing their stories, experience, tales, laughing, loving, and just vibing out. The Layla Show. Welcome back to another week of The Layla Show. I'm your host, Layla Ziari, and we are talking with Jeff Kolez. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
And you are the Divorce Daddy, which I love the name. So you here teach men how to go through divorce, because the biggest thing we all need, honestly, is community. And I know your website says there's not a lot of support for men going through divorce. And I would wholeheartedly attest and agree to that, as knowing many men who have gone through divorce. And so, yeah, love that. Welcome.
Thanks for that introduction. I wouldn't say I'm the divorce daddy. The idea, though, is to bring that kind of "I've got it" energy to men going through a divorce. I know for myself, going through a divorce, you just get the crap kicked out of you, and you don't know which way's up. You don't know how to recover. You thought you built this life, and then it gets flushed down the toilet, and then you're really lacking a lot of self-confidence. So the idea I want to do, or that I'm behind the site, behind my coaching, is to bring back that confidence.
I love that. So, yes, you're here to empower people, which I think is so important, because, I mean, whenever we go through a catastrophic, life-altering event, there's so much insecurities in that. I mean, your whole life blows up in your face, and a divorce is like a fucking catastrophic tower moment. Whatever way you want to shake it up, building a life with someone, I mean, scares the ever-living shit out of me wholeheartedly, because it can fall apart. And then, yeah, where are you after that? You know? So, yeah, tell us about.
Well, can I, if you're okay with it, I'd like to
Yeah, wholeheartedly
touch on that point. I think that's a really interesting point you raised there, that yes, it can fall apart. But why do people keep going into a marriage? Why do people keep going into relationships?
I honestly don't know at this point.
And I don't really believe in falling back in statistics. With that said, most people get back in, they try again. So would you invest in something that has a 50% failure rate?
No, absolutely not. I take pride in my investments.
And then if you try again, the failure rate goes up. It goes to 60%. And then third is even crazier, 70%. But why do we keep going back? I really believe that there's gold in a relationship, and a relationship will teach you more about yourself than going through life alone. And that's not to knock anybody who's going through life alone, who wants to be single.
Hello.
Well, that's a decision, and as long as it's a conscious decision, that's cool. For myself anyway, I've repartnered, and we've been together basically, well, not basically, a few months after I separated with my ex. And we have been through the ups and downs, but I am a completely different person, in no small part because of the relationship I have with her now. So, yes, it's scary, but anything worth having, I believe, is going to be scary.
That's 111% also true. I do things that people think are crazy and scary all the time, so I do agree with that. And I also agree that human connection is one of the most fundamental important things we have here, and I get why we all crave that and strive for that. And also, I can say that all like the greatest lessons I learned in life were definitely because of my perpetual relationshiping in my life. And I don't know if I would have learned any of those lessons without like the mirror reflection of somebody else in that, yeah, in my life at that point. So I think that's absolutely valid. But so you're together with this. Do you still believe in marriage though? I wonder.
Um, I don't. So when I went through my divorce, it was shocking how involved the government was. And I don't mean to go on a whole anti-government rant,
Well,
but
you can. It's okay. They're
well,
not
I don't know that I have that deep of a rant. It's
bad.
but they were shoving their nose in in my business a little too much.
Yeah.
Um, and you go into court and it's almost it's such a miserable experience, and it didn't feel like reality. It
No.
was like, of course you're going to lose your house. Why would you think anything else? Of
So,
course of course you're not going to have a house.
of course,
Of
you did
course you're going to leave
absolutely
this marriage
nothing.
with only the clothes on your back. Of course, and you're going to owe, a monthly payment. Of course that's going to happen. Why would you expect anything else? Um,
Funny, but it's just absurd because yeah,
it is, and
that's
you go
the
through.
normal. And you're the man, so like yeah, you're actually gonna get fucked more than anybody because the woman always does kind of come out ahead in these divorce situations. She's gonna 10 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, like 8, 9 out of 10, get the house, get all the stuff, get the payment.
Well, that's I don't know about every time, and I'm not here to turn this into like a man versus woman thing.
No, because I mean
Yeah,
I love men and women, but it is just statistically, let's just I'll say it from a woman. You don't have to say that, but I'm a woman, so I'll say it, statistically you guys get fucked more legally. And I mean it's just statistics. It's not like against women or anything. It's just how the law spins it usually.
I understand how we could have gotten to this point. I don't think it makes sense anymore. And the statistic I like to quote, well, I don't like to quote. Let me back that off. The statistic that I think shows a more accurate picture is, yes, um, maybe women get ahead in through a divorce. What happens is men have a suicide rate 10 times what women do after a divorce. And to me, that's really messed up. And I say that it's not reality because it doesn't seem like anybody along the way is looking at the consequences of going through that divorce. Um, you leave the man with nothing, and then of course that's the way it's going to happen. And then what happens, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road? Um, the guy's lost all hope.
Yeah. And I've seen that. I mean, God, my dad's still in that place and he got divorced like for the second time, like over 10 years ago. And I'm like, oh God, are you gonna be okay? Maybe he needs you, honestly, because
Maybe.
maybe.
Um,
But
maybe.
yeah, I mean that hopelessness I feel lingers for sure.
It is, and that's the decision I think men have is, well, when you're in that situation, I don't want to totally gender it, but when you're in that situation, you have to make that decision of, am I going to let this thing beat me? And am I going to, you really have to bring that hope back to you. You have to bring it right here. You can't be looking at the external, because the external is there to take it away from you. You gotta find that value inside. So that's what I do. I help men find the value inside rather than looking outside.
I love that. And I think that's important. And like you said, that goes with like any situation of hopelessness. Like I've been in such despair and hopelessness in my life and had my life ripped up from underneath me a billion times over, be it relationships or just situations I've been in. And that hopelessness, it is like you have nothing but your own self-reliance in that point. And the conscious choice to be like, I'm not going to let this defeat me, even if all odds out externally are against you. Because if you look at the external odds in like a lot of situations, chaotic, hellish, just fucked so many times, you know? But it is, it's like, you know, you can't harp on that if you want to get beyond it. You have to find something within you and the strength within you to fight for yourself, I guess, fight for your own liberation, fight for your own betterness, because really, I mean, no one else is going to fight for you other than yourself, I suppose.
So what was what made you decide to make that decision?
I've always been a fighter. I've never really given up, but you know, I guess I don't know. I don't know if there's like a pinnacle moment. It's like I said, I think I've put myself in that situation so many times in my life that, you know, I just eventually I'm like, this is dumb. No one's gonna pick me up. I'm gonna stay here, and I don't like to stay here. So fight it out, win, because it doesn't feel good to feel like shit. It doesn't feel good to feel hopeless every day. I mean, there's like genuinely nothing to live for. And I don't know. I value life, I guess. I value life. And I think there's beauty in life and there's beauty in suffering. And, you know, I don't know, I guess it's just a will, because a lot of people just, you're right, like lose that will. I don't know. I don't know what it is though. I don't know. What was your moment? Because I can't pinpoint mine. I don't know if you can with yours.
I think it's I well, I think you nailed it with the fighting spirit thing, right?
Yeah,
Like you don't actually lose until you give up.
that's true.
So I think the idea is even if you fail 10 times, you get back up 11, you know, the cliche.
Yeah.
For me, at the beginning, I used my kids as a reason to keep going, as something to look forward to, and that only works for a certain period of time.
Right.
But um, you know, just that initial miserable um, first few months, what's going to get you out of bed is, well, what got me out of bed was, you know, knowing I had to be up to take the kids to school, um and not just that, but when you have kids, you're really building the next generation, and you have this responsibility not to screw it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
And not just that, but there are all kinds of statistics about how important a father's role is. I'm not diminishing the mother's role, but there's all kinds of statistics around it. It's something like fatherless children are 5 times more likely to be incarcerated. Much lower drug use, alcohol use, way more likely to graduate high school. So, like all of those things, like that's me, the father.
Right.
Um, so if I gave that up, then I would be letting down not just my own kids, but society as a whole. When you look at it that big,
Yeah, that's a big fucking burden, huh?
it is. But
Like
it can
all the weight on your shoulders. But like, yeah, you're right though. We do need fathers, so
it's weight, but
motivation.
it's motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, I
how do you
guess
give up with all of that pressure?
you can. I mean, you can, but again, you're failing generations of
Right.
society. And I guess let me steal your answer then back to answer mine. Yeah, there's the purpose. I mean, I don't have children. I have nobody who relies on me. I mean, my friends always tell me like, if you die, I won't be able to make it. And I'm like, that's nice, but you will literally go on. I hate to tell you that, but you will actually go on. Like, but yeah, I mean, I guess the purpose. There's some, I don't know, driving force to keep going. There's some reason we're here, I suppose. That's what motivates me because I don't really know what the fuck that is. Like I say, I change it all the time. I fall down, but like you said too, I feel like, I mean, we get so down on ourselves when we fall, and yes, it's like catastrophic sometimes, and especially like a divorce. It's like your whole fucking existence wrapped up in this person, this life you built. But you know, like but life is full of moments, big or small, that like, it's not like you just get over one hump and life is sunshines and rainbows for the rest of your life. You're going to continue to fall. That's being human. So I feel like we have to get comfortable with being able to pick ourselves back up. And it sucks. Nobody wants to do that all the time, but I also think that's part of like the human experience. And I don't think we really have a choice in that matter.
I I agree, but I think some people might disagree, and those are the ones who tend to give up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all perspective. I think whatever gets us through the day at the end of the day, I'm not right. I mean, I just say what I feel. I'm not
Sure.
speaking correct. Like, I'm not saying that my word is ever law, but that's at least how I feel and how I look at things and how I get through my life.
Yeah, and it's different for different people. I think a lot of people get caught up in the emotion of it. And I mean, if you I think my biggest mistake, I think, was looking back at what I had lost rather than what I had the opportunity to create. Um, I and that can be a huge gift because you go through life, you get to a point, you realize, oh man, I screwed up all these things along the way. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but you ended up in a certain place. It might not be a bad thing to burn that down every now and then and rebuild the from the ashes.
See my
Uh,
smile. I love to burn it down.
I'm kind of doing it right now.
How was
Um,
that for you?
um, so it's all you're right. It's all about the mindset. It's all about seeing what you can create. One more point on that. I feel like I know I've become like a completely different person,
Well, good.
and I
Fine.
went. Like, yeah, if you're not embarrassed by who you were yesterday, are you really growing?
No.
Uh, I went back to um, my old house and I sat inside. I wrote about this, and I sat inside, and it felt like the house from 15 years ago. Like the energy, it just felt the same as it did back then. Um, like like even the paint on the walls, there was like still the same dings. I remember there was still the same kitchen table, and I'm like, I've been through hell and back, and I've done just about everything on my bucket list since then, and I'm a completely different person, and um I would not trade anything to avoid going through that divorce misery. I'm very grateful for the life I have now.
And that's beautiful. And I think, I mean, that is the perspective we need to share because eventually, like you said, we burn it down. And like burning it down is not inherently bad. It feels like shit while you're going through it, and you can curse the universe and be like, why the fuck is this happening? But there is always like there's a reason for it. But like again, it's all on your mindset. And if you choose to overcome it, there's always like, oh my God, well, thank God that happened because I would never know this X, Y, and Z and get to hear without that. So I mean, there is always beauty in the breakdown, and it's just, it's all about your perspective if you are capable, willing, and able to see it that way, because, you can't get to the life you want. If the life you're living doesn't serve you in this very moment, then like you can't get to where you want to be without derailing, maybe not the whole thing, but sometimes it is the whole thing. Sometimes it's just little aspects, but you have to absolutely burn it down and get rid of whatever it is that's keeping you from getting to where you want to be. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Um, the you're right, though it does feel like shit when you go through it.
Yes. And I just
And
don't think that we should ever beat ourselves up for feeling like shit in those moments or try to like justify it and make it not feel like shit either. Like,
no, no, don't run from it.
yeah, the
That's the
permission
worst
to
thing.
feel like shit is very important, I think.
It is. It's. I think it's also important to get back to. So I was an engineer before this, software engineer, and there's this idea of first principles. You get back to what a known working state. If you break everything, then you get back to a known working state. And what I always suggest is going back to just basic things, what works, like get out there, exercise. I know it sounds so basic, but
No, but it's accurate.
these are your first steps. Get back to exercise, get back to, something where you're out of your head. And just the just about the best thing I did every day was go for a walk. I'd take the dog for a walk. It's such a simple thing, but it would get me out of my head, get me out of my emotions, just get me moving again.
I truly believe, like, and like you said, it's the most basic fucking thing in the world, but I swear that walks are the most therapeutic thing that actually exists on this planet. You know, like, go have your meditation, go have your yoga. Cool, cool, cool. But like nothing for me is more therapeutic than literally just walking outside. Like I will be ready to burn the world down, ready to kill everyone, like ready to just set fire to every single cell of myself and everything around me sometimes. Because like let's be honest, we all have rage, even though I can be in a good place in my life. I might wake up like on the wrong side of hell tomorrow. Like, and I can just go for a walk and I'll be fine. Every time,
Yeah.
out of time. Fine. 100% fine. Like, oh, that was, and then I'll just laugh about it like 10 minutes later. Like, that was dumb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need
So
that.
glad we're grounded again.
I would argue though that walking is meditation. I know you
It
differentiate,
is. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm being nerdy about this because
No,
that's
but
not.
it totally is. I meant just like the basic,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
sit on the floor and kumbaya. But it is. It's meditation. It's actually technically yoga because yoga is actually technically not asanas. It's actually all the acts of being present and calm. So yes, you're right. It is
Oh,
meditation.
today I learned that. The other thing I used to do is go beat the shit out of a heavy bag, like just boxing, and that works so much out. And you picture your ex's face there, and you
So see, I need to like I want to get involved in something like that. I feel like I need a channel for my aggressive tendencies.
taekwondo.
I was
Yeah,
gonna sign up for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu this week. I don't even know what that is, but it sounded correct. Like it genuinely just sounded like the right thing to do. So,
it's I've done BJJ. It's it's not punching. It's not striking.
mm, okay, so
If you
yeah,
want to get your rage out,
it's not.
you want something striking.
Okay, Taekwondo. My friend swears by Taekwondo. I don't know if there's anywhere here, but I know.
Check it out.
I'm gonna
Boxing,
look at
boxing is good, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more holds, like
it.
getting breaking holds, getting him into holds.
No, I want to fuck something up.
Yeah, boxing, taekwondo.
Thank you. I'm
You
glad I
want
didn't
like
go to your studio.
a striking martial art.
Okay. Taekwondo. Good. See, I'm glad I didn't sign up before we had this conversation. You just like
There
saved
you
me a
go.
lot of time
Let
and
me know how
energy
it
in my
goes.
life. Yeah. Well, thank you. But yeah, so how long have you been divorced? Like how long what
Um, oh, it's been 2013.
okay.
What is that? What a year are we? 12 years.
I just had a mind malfunction. I think 2024? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's almost 2025. So yeah,
Okay.
almost 12
Great.
years. And I was, it's this is the longest breakup I've ever been in because it still feels like it's there's like this long tail that just keeps going. Like once you have kids with somebody, you're basically attached to them for the rest of your life
That's
forever.
a move you really can't shake.
No, it's not. So I minimize my time as much as possible. But sometimes it's not possible.
No,
Um,
it's difficult with kids, obviously, because like you said, you're entangled for life and you want to still and co-parenting. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to figure that one out right now, you know? That's
it's tough. The thing I do recommend, if you are struggling with that, so sometimes the other person enjoys getting an emotional response from you, and that may have been my experience. So I would suggest, I think it's becoming more popular, but a lot of people don't know about gray rocking. Do you know what gray rocking is?
walking.
And then there's pink rocking, which I'll get into in a sec. Um, Gray rocking is when you appear as uninteresting as a rock on the ground. So you don't react to anything emotionally. And it takes a lot of practice because the other person might try to draw an emotional reaction from you.
Well, even more so when you act like a rock, that triggers the fuck out of them because you're not reacting in the way that they want to.
It does at first, yes, 100%. That's why you got to stay centered. And that's when those walks come in really handy. And that's when the heavy bag is useful. Um, but if you can minimize your reaction, eventually it takes time. They will stop. The other person will stop probing you for those emotional spots. You also, the thing I like about gray rocking, now that I've learned to do inner work, is whenever I find something that I emotionally react to, I go, what's going on in here? Why am I reacting to this?
Hmm.
And then I'll look inside and do the work to let that go. Then, so that's gray rocking, is you just don't react. You
Yeah.
go,
No reaction.
no
I
reaction
agree.
whatsoever. She'll say, you're a terrible father. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Um,
Feedback is always so appreciated. Thank you so much.
um, and then there's pink rocking, which you just give enough. This is a new one to me, so I'm still learning this one. You just give enough of a reaction that it seems like you're connected. Like you just give them enough of that, what they're looking for, that supply, that gold that they're looking for inside. Um, so if
A
they're
little
if they're
breadcrumb.
little breadcrumb, just a little bit to keep them happy. You're polite. Yes, please, thank you. No, thank you. Do not give any emotional reaction beyond that. Even if it feels devastating inside. You stay centered.
Yes, I like those. Okay, so pink rocking and gray rocking, which are both things that I need to work on because I am an emotionally reactive motherfucking bitch.
Don't do that.
I'm
Stay
aware,
centered.
trying to work on this. I'm realizing this a lot lately that I'm very reactive and I just get very passionate about things. So I'll just really like go off if something like, even like not in anger. Like I find like I just get emotionally consumed by like a topic and I'm like, wait. And then I listen to myself back and I'm like, you're not even speaking intelligently. You just went ablaze. Went ablaze, lady. Can we reset? So, it's something I think we can
I
all
get it.
work
You're
on that.
excited about something. You have a topic you want to share.
Yeah, but I mean, even like in relationships and anger, yes, but even in podcasting, I find myself like, girl, you gotta reel it in because like, what the fuck? You just went on a tangent that was so emotionally charged, like no one wants to hear you yell. So, that's something we all need to work on.
Maybe they do. Maybe that's why they're tuning in to hear you rant.
I can rage. Well then, hello. Let's rage. I mean, not today. Today I don't have any rage, so
Yeah, it's a very calm day. You're gray rocking today.
I'm my gray rock day. Very centered, very calm. But you know why? Because I woke up and I exercised and I didn't choose violence this morning. It really is how you do your
So you're
morning.
following, and I bet you went for a walk soon.
I went for a walk and then I went to the gym. And like I said, I was sick all weekend. Like I was dead. Like I couldn't get out of bed. The life left my eyes. I was projectile vomiting for like 2 days. So like I was on my just end. And this morning I woke up and I was like a little iffy. I was like, we could just still be in bed, like half recovering. I was like, no, girl, we're getting up. We're doing the normal thing and you're going to be a human being again. So help me God. I don't care if you're a little nauseous. You're going to be human. And it worked. So, yeah.
There you go. Mind over matter.
It's a testament to our walks and stuff. So, uh, I forget what I was gonna ask you, but so like now you're offering support for men, which is fantastic. We need a
Yep.
community. Everybody needs a community, but you did not have this. You created this. So how did you manage to gain all this wisdom and do this all by yourself? Like how? Like so you're just here like exploding, imploding internally while your life is ripped from you, and you're like, all right, cool, let's get it together.
Yeah, right. No, I got here first of all by a number of coaches. But there wasn't anything geared specifically for a divorce.
Okay.
Um, those coaches I owed a huge debt of gratitude to them because I wouldn't be here otherwise. And they taught me they're the ones who gave me all this wisdom. Um, but I also made every mistake along the way. Um, You don't, I some people learn by being told something, but I don't.
No, me
I,
either.
if the button says don't push the button, I'm going to push the button. Yeah.
So,
Um, um, so I made all the mistakes, every single mistake there was to make. I did it. But the other side of that is you gain wisdom along the way.
100%.
So hopefully I can help some men along the way to not make every mistake that I made and at least give them direction when they're facing that turmoil inside and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's very important because so many of us do what you and I do, push the
Hmm.
buttons and just complete. I mean, I like advice sometimes, but
Doesn't mean I'm going to take it.
no, I'm like probably 99.9% of the time not gonna take it at all. Like I'll put it in my pocket, keep it for a rainy day, I'll remember it.
Crumple it up, throw it over the shoulder.
Yeah, and after I learn it in my own catastrophic way of doing it, I'll be like, good advice back there in that pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you've ignored it, gone through it,
Yeah.
you go, oh yeah, that was good advice.
Oh,
I
100%.
should I
I
should
give
have listened to that.
phenomenal advice as well. Like I like 10 out of 10 out, all my friends are like, you give the best advice. Have I ever like actually sat here and taken my own advice without going like was that the intention taking my own advice? Yes. Did I do it in a way that like made sure I fumbled on every like point of trying to get to the advice that I was giving to other people and using on myself? Yeah, of course. Did I like go around and like create roadblocks? Yes.
Do you think this is something I struggle with? Do you think it's better to ignore the advice and actually go through it, or do you think it's more of a shortcut to listen to the advice?
I don't, I think it could go either way depending on who you are. I think for me, it genuinely doesn't matter either way because I'm such a like hard-headed, stubborn fucking bitch. And I am independent to my core and I like appreciate the wisdom, will always respect the wisdom, but I'm so hard-headed that like it doesn't matter if I think, and it's not that I'm trying to ignore your wisdom. So I'll just answer this from my perspective. It's just that if I see like if I'm like, but this way seems like the right way and it's completely derailing whatever you had to say, I'm gonna follow whatever way feels right in my heart and soul in the moment, no matter if it defies all logic, no matter if it's the absolute longest way to go. So, I mean, for me, it's not going to really matter. I mean, your wisdom, but like sometimes, I like to hear it, and if it resonates, maybe it makes it easier for me. But it might resonate, and I still might be like, but no, 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 you don't understand. I still have to go over here before I can get there, and I'm going to do it. So I don't know.
I get it. I'm very similar.
Okay. Well,
Well, but
hard-headed, I don't know. I don't
the
know.
reason I'm asking is that yes, you gain that life experience, and yes, you learn to trust yourself more. Um, is it a sign of eventual maturity that you listen to other people? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe. If so, I am very much not mature.
Likewise.
Yeah, well, that's
Life's to be experienced, right? Not if I just sat around, I could just read or if I was intended to listen to other people's advice, I would just read books and not experience it.
oh my God, 100%. I admire the fuck out of my friends who are like, Layla, you got to read this self-help book. And I'm like, do I though? Because like, I mean, I don't really read them, but like I have before, but I'd rather read like, you know what I like to read? I like to read insufferable poetic ramblings and people who write prose about just like absolute misery and death and their own destruction. So like, I guess that's the path I choose. I choose violence. I choose the
I guess so.
like
You
not
were
in a
saying?
bad way. I mean, I'm really on the like I'm always trying to just better myself and find like my own personal truth. I just like to do it in my own way, I guess. And it sounds like you're the same, but I think we all have methods of learning, and I think some people really benefit more than others from being told what like we were saying before. Like some people like to be told what to do and like to have a path and like are very like this person told me, so I'm gonna go, or this way has been told to be the way, so I'm gonna go. I mean, look how many people follow just whatever it is that is the most likely thing in general. There's a hive mind, there's a collective thought, and some people just get in line and follow whatever the fuck that is. But even when it comes down to self-help, there's so many modalities. So like, even if a book tells me one thing and I read 17,000 different books, like most of those are going to contradict themselves in some way, but they're all like getting to the be all and end all of the same goal inevitably. But it's like, whatever. Yeah, I just don't think there's really a right or wrong path to go about it. It's like, as long as your goal is like to be better for yourself and like show up for yourself and not be an asshole, I feel like whatever way you got to do that, like go do that.
I hear you. I do think there is a destination, and that's being okay in here.
Yeah, 100%.
How you get there is there's a million different ways to get there.
There's
There's
so many ways.
8.5, how many people in the world? There's 9 billion people, 9
Like,
billion ways to get there. So
yeah.
you don't necessarily listen to someone else's advice.
Right. But then again, like, do you maybe think like you and I think this way because you're telling me your story and you're like, I went through this and I had coaches, but there was nobody out there supporting people in this genuine situation. And I feel like I've lived such a renegade, reckless life that it's like, no, was anybody ever there for me? Like, yes, I've met spiritual coaches and yes, I've met friends and blah, blah, blah people, but there's nobody who's ever like, had the constructs of what I was going through. So it's like, do you feel like maybe some of us are just like here to pave the way so that like, because we all like, I wanted a community. If I'm going through divorce, I want a community like you just built for
Mhm.
people. But somebody has to build that so that they come. So I mean,
I think you show them the destination,
mhm.
um, and then you show them some of the tools, what
Yeah,
they do with those tools. Yes, the work I do is you hit on it, largely spiritual. And I think you have to show them what what it you have to demonstrate what it's like to be okay to sit within yourself and be comfortable with that.
yeah,
You are, I think you become a coach should be aspirational, meaning they've achieved what you want.
100.
So I was able to use what my coaches provided, even though they hadn't been through exactly where I had been through. Like
Right.
there's still commonalities. You don't have to necessarily go through a divorce in order to coach somebody through it. You just have to understand that there's difficulties in life, and maybe that's where you start from in that commonality. Um, so you show them that destination, you show them some of the tools along the way, you show them certain rituals that work,
Mhm.
and you keep guiding them back to that place. And when they eventually go through that hell, I'm really fascinated by, I don't know if you know the term dark night of the soul. Really
Yeah,
fascinated.
I love it. It's like my favorite thing, but it's the worst thing. But I swear, I wrote a 7-page poem about the Dark Night of the Soul because I just
Mhm.
think it's great. It's not great.
It's where creation happens.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I love the death energy because it's just rebirth comes from that. I don't like when we're floating and singing Kumbaya, to be completely fucking honest. I like when we're going through it because like transformation and creative, like you said, creativity happens there. That's why like
It does. It does.
spark is
It's
born.
it's uncomfortable as hell.
Oh yeah.
And you have to have that constant, and you have to have those rituals, and that's why just going for a bloody walk, that's what's going to get you started. That's what's going to keep you grounded when you're going through that. There are other tools, there are other ways through it. Um, but the coach guides you through it, guides you through that hell. You don't have to, like, everybody's destination is not the same. Like, not everybody, wants to buy a house and live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Um, but I think everybody should at least try to sit within themselves and be okay with that.
Yeah, and I think that I mean like as you go through all the teachings and spiritual teaching, everybody, yes, everybody has like an avenue where they're catering, like you're catering to men with divorce. There's people who cater to women, there's people who cater
Mhm.
to, neuro, whatever. I don't know. There's a billion things, but like I think the be all and end all goal of all these things is being able to be okay with yourself and finding yourself and being self-reliant and being able to sit with your emotions and being self-aware enough to like thrive and not be a codependent person in this universe and be a good person on some level for yourself. Because, yeah, I guess. Don't we all just like really teach self-reliance on some level, I feel?
Well, yeah, 100%. That's you're absolutely right. That is the goal.
That is the
Um,
goal. But yeah, there's so many journeys and twists and modalities and I think it is important to like corner niche markets because like how else, especially men. I feel like what you're doing is very important because women are easier, like community based, I feel like, and like, sit in a circle. Like we're witchy as fuck by nature. We sit in a circle and express our feelings and like run and dance in the forest. You know what I mean? By nature, that's who we are. And yes, there's like tribe mentality of men and stuff, but it's more I feel like it's more singular in that aspect. Like I don't think it's you know what I mean? It's not like you don't want it, but it's the spiritual community for men is not as like expanded and explosive as it is for women, I guess is what I'm saying.
it's not, and I think I need to research this more, and I need to settle into this idea a little bit more. But I think that's a relatively new thing. It feels like men have been, maybe this is my anti-government rant,
Love it.
separated almost, like divided as much as possible. Um, I think we used to have more of a community, and there was more, you know, rituals around going through difficult times.
Right, yeah.
Um, we every you would go through the hunt, and you would something negative would happen. I'm making this up as I go, but something negative would happen. Like you might have almost died, but then you have this ritual after it where you let those emotions out. Like that's breath work and shaking came from that. If you watch animals in nature, deer that or antelope that almost get that survive like a lion attack, they go and shake because they're allowing those emotions out. Yeah, yeah,
I
totally,
love somatic shaking. It's my favorite.
totally. So we don't do that now. Now we almost like there's this loneliness that comes with being a man these days, and that we are lacking that community. So we
Yeah.
need to bring that back, and I think it'll benefit everybody, not just men. It'll benefit women.
Women need men in general to community ties. So you also are destroying everything in the world. Not you personally, but men are like literally destroying the entire world because they're so singular minded right now and can't just come together on anything. So like yes, please get community back so you stop fucking ruining everything as a species. And that's my rant because you are, not you personally, but men are ruining everything.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
I mean, a lot of women are ruining shit too, but like you guys are in charge of the world, so we'll see.
No, we're not. Go through divorce court and tell me we're still in charge after that.
Well, that's where you're not. That's true. See, fuck. Okay, maybe my logic is flawed here. Because in divorce, you really do lose. So
Yeah.
I ate my own argument.
I have a friend who says if you have boys, um,
Get married.
take them to divorce court when they turn 18 and let them sit there for the whole day.
No, it is.
And
Yeah,
and that'll really show them. And it's not about, and I really want to make sure this is understood. It's not about um, men and women hating each other. I don't believe that that's the path forward.
no,
It's
I don't think
about
so.
being careful with who you partner up with.
100%. I think conscious. I think that's so important just because I feel like people just willy-nilly hop into relationships so often and just like, I don't know, people just get married. People just fucking go get married. And I'm like, cool. But I feel like so much of it is for like not necessarily, not like the wrong reasons per se, but it's like, are you guys evolved enough to like actually understand the contract you're in? Are you like emotionally capable of like making these decisions? Because I swear people just be getting married when they're like 17 years old and like popping out children, starting a family, not knowing who they are as people. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I mean, even older. Like, I just feel like if you don't know who you are as an individual, like, coupling is dangerous. So if you're gonna do that, don't get married and don't get the law involved until you both know who you are as human beings.
100%. And that was my mistake for sure.
You're not the only 99.9% of humans make the same mistakes. So, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hallelujah, you're not the only one in that, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that particular thing was my mistake. The I think we have a lot of stories. I call them stories, like
Yeah,
basically emotions, and they're just running in the back of our head, and we're not even aware of them.
no.
And so that's how we end up just, on these rails that take us into marriage. And 10 years goes by, and you wake up, and maybe you wake up, but
You wake up.
10 years goes by, and you're not where you wanted to be, and you're not sure how that happened.
Right. And that scares me most of all. Like that's why I guess I just choose to live because so many people go through their whole lives doing that. I mean, there's so many people who wait till like they retire and then their body gives out because they never took care of themselves to realize that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I just gave my whole life to this person, this system, this energy, and I never actually took the time to figure out who I am ever in this life.
And that's why, to bring it, yeah, 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 totally. To bring it full circle, that's why divorce can be a good thing, because it wakes you up. It is a pattern interrupt that you can't ignore. And either you wake up or you keep going, or you resist it or you wake up. And what I'm trying to do is guide more people into waking up.
Yes. And I think, and again, it's so important because that is such a solitary, lonely time. I mean, like, we didn't even get into like the friendships. Your friends go, like, you share friends, you share family. It's like
Yeah,
you lose so much in that. Like, it's not just your house, it's not just your clothes, it's the entire community, the life you built, like, the relationships you have. Like, and starting over sucks. And the older you get, like, it's scarier. You know what I mean? And,
100%.
I just feel like housing and what you're doing and like giving that community and that support because so many people stay too long because of the lack of support. So many people stay beyond like a relationship in your head is over and you still stay for like 5 more years because the finances, because it's just too complicated in your mind to like figure out, you know what I mean? Like leaving. Because some people do figure out and just don't do anything about it for the kids or for the convenience. And it's like, well, hey, that fucks your kids up because your kids are going to start to
Yep,
energetically know you hate each other.
yep.
And for the convenience, it's not worth it's not worth your life. This is your life.
You
You
only get
owe it to
one. Wow.
yourself, to everybody in your life to be happy.
Yeah. If whatever, there's all sorts of cliches. Whatever you don't change, you're accepting. I can't remember that quote. But I think it's worth, if you continue to demonstrate that life, is that the life you want to demonstrate for your kids?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're leading by example. And I don't have kids, but I have to check myself all the fucking time. Like, just, is this the life you want to show other people? If people watch you, like, check yourself, girl, check how do you want to show up for the future generations? Children, if you have them, it's a lot easier. If you don't, same deal.
100%.
Show up. Do you want to be an asshole or do you want to be a liberated person living their best life or at least trying to? And also, like, embodying the human condition, which is we suffer, we fall down, we burn, we rise. We might do it all again a couple hundred times, but you know,
That's the fun in life.
it's the fun in life. Well, I appreciate you coming on and
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a fun discussion.
So, divorcedaddy.com. You're not on social media yet, are you? You said.
Just a little bit. I hide too much from social media. I have
Put
a
yourself out there. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. It's such a drain on energy.
I know it's literally the most demonic thing I've entered into my life too much. But it is important for promoting and getting yourself out there too. You just have to find the balance. The balance is hard. It's kind of spooky, but you can do it.
It is. It is. I've got a little Facebook group. I just need to do more with it. But yeah, divorce-daddy.com.
Okay, perfect.
And I have a starter kit that will help you get started if you are going through a divorce or you just went through one.
And do you take clients one-on-one too, or?
Yeah. Yeah, both one-on-one, and I'm just starting a membership now.
Okay, cool. So good. You can work with them one-on-one, go get your intro course, and get divorced because be happy.
Don't get divorced.
Well, what if they're not happy?
If they're not happy, I guess.
Don't listen to me.
It's you have, yeah. That's a whole. There's a whole can of worms there.
Let's not leave this episode as listening to Layla because I'm never right. I just facilitate these conversations.
If you're unhappy, yes, get divorced. But it's not. If you can avoid it, avoid it.
100%. Yeah. Listen to Jeff. He's got logic. I'm a little crazy. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And thank you for listening to The Layla Show. The Layla Show.